Community connections, CKMS. Local sounds, thoughts, passions, and success. Celebrate local, your neighbor's got a story to tell. Community connections, CKMS.
Happy Friday, Waterloo Region. You're listening to CKMS Community Connections for the 14th of February, 2025. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Today, I'm hoping to talk to Kae Elgie of Cooperate for Canada, have her tell us a little bit about what the organization is and what they have in plan for the currently proceeding Ontario election. Hopefully that'll happen in a few minutes. In the meantime, we're going to listen to some music by Cameron Noise. This is Working for the Weekend. Camera Noise. That was called Whatever. Listening now to Death by Shareholder. Camera Noise writes to us on Blue Sky, new album release. That's right, we have here at Camera Noise International Conglomerate Industries Limited Corporation. We've been working hard on a Valentine's Day treat for you, but instead release an album. Oh well. It's a good album, Cameron. Tim. Tim was in the studio with us back in the summer last year, so feel like I have a connection to the music. The album is called What If We Just Stop Using Their Money? We're listening to Death by Shareholder until Kae Elgie arrives to talk about Cooperate for Canada. Listening to CKMS Community Connections, a Valentine's Day edition. My name is Bob Jonkman. Keep listening to Camera Noise.
It's not funny, and I don't have a name. Getting thrown out of places, out of my school, out of my house, and I don't have a name. And at night I'm back at it, selling something, I'm selling it all, and I don't have a name. Who matters the most? Who matters at all? Do you have to be big, or can you be small? Who matters the most? Who matters at all? Instead of all for one, let's make it one for all. Instead of all for one, let's make it one for all. on the table. It's hard to think when you're starving, and I don't have a name. All the liars and saviors on the ballots, they want my check mark, but I don't have a name. Who matters the most? Who matters at all? Do you have to be big, or can you be small? Who matters the most? Who matters at all? Instead of all, for one, let's make it one for all. Instead of all, for one, let's make it one for all. Instead of all, for one, how about one for all? Hey, hey, hey.
That's Henry Taylor. I Don't Have a Name, also a brand new release, came out last week Friday. Henry Taylor writes to us, "My name is Henry Taylor. I'm a Kitchener-Waterloo-based musician. I just released a new single titled I Don't Have a Name on Friday, February the 7th, worldwide. This single is off my new album, Sweet Thunder, coming out on March 28th. It'll be his 6th studio album." Henry says he's played all over Canada and down in Nashville, and he's currently set up an Ontario tour for his new album, Sweet Thunder. In the spring, he's sending this email that in hopes that CKMS will play his new single that came out last week. And, of course, we did, and they'll play it many, many more times. That was pretty catchy there. He sends us a shout-out to Coral Andrews on CKWR, the other community radio station here in Waterloo Region. Made the top of the top track list that Coral does every day. Shout out to Coral, who's also a host here on CKMS FM, doing the Interzone show alternate Wednesdays at 11 a.m. So, hope to get Henry into the studio at some point. Since he's local, that shouldn't be too difficult. Always nice to have local musicians showcased on CKMS FM. If you're a local musician, give us a shout at office@radiowaterloo.ca. Send us your music there, either a link to a Dropbox, WeTransfer, Nextcloud, whatever type of file transfer service that you use, or just send it as an attachment to the email. It'll go to Richard Giles, our music committee coordinator, who will process the tracks, put them into our library, where I get to play them for you. And Richard asks all the new musicians that submit music if they're open for doing an interview, and if they want to cut us a station ID, something like, you're listening to CKMS FM 102.7 Radio Waterloo on your FM dial. So do that kind of thing, have some fun with it, send it to us, and you'll get on the air as well. Continuing now with a little bit more camera noise, this is Soylent Greenwashing off his new album, just released today. The album is called What If We Just Stop Using Their Money? This is camera noise.
Getting out on the city tonight. The wheels keep spinning round. Me and the boys, we're gonna have some fun. Head on down to Nick's to have a real good time. We're gonna shoot some pool and drink a bottle of nine. So rack 'em up, you know I'm really feeling lucky tonight. You gotta love it when it's hot outside in the swelter and the rain. Keep the drinks rolling, we'll be here all night, acting like fools again. You know it sure ain't funny, we'll be blowing all the money. You know we all cashed our pay, but you know it's the best when you're hanging with the boys this way. Boys night out, boys night out, boys night out, out to chase the blues away. Boys night out, boys night out, boys night out, out to chase the blues away. You know it sure ain't funny, we'll be blowing all the money. You know we all cashed our pay. We're gonna have a good time, blow the bad news all away. When it gets real late, we'll have to head on home. You better call yourself a cow. We only got one life, don't treat it light. If we get home alive, you know we did it right. You gotta love it when it's hot outside in the swelter and the rain. We kept the drinks rolling, but it's time to go home again. Boys night out, boys night out, boys night out, out to chase the blues away. Boys night out, boys night out, boys night out. We kept the drinks rolling, but it's time to go home again.
Fog Blues and Brass Band from Kitchener. New title came out probably about a month ago called Boys Night Out. Going to be popular around here, I think. From their Facebook page, Southern Ontario's Fog Blues and Brass Band blow off steam with their new single and video for Boys Night Out. They had a stellar 2024 festival season, appearances at Ottawa Blues Fest, Kitchener Blues Festival, Stonybridge Wasaga Beach Blues Festival, and a bunch of others. And they claim that this bluesy rocker is exactly as advertised. A good old ruckus boys night out. A driving toe tapper, get you on the dance floor. Unfortunately, nothing about the new single on their website. Gotta update that website there, guys. They sent it to us through a Dropbox link. Unfortunately, had a password on it. We can't deal with that, not here at Radio Waterloo. So when you do use file transfer services, make sure that the file transfer service is available to us without requiring logins and social security numbers and video surveillance and all that sort of thing. Let's listen to a little bit more camera noise. This is Fahrenheit 24/7 from the What If We Just Stop Using Their Money album. Camera noise.
moon shines a spotlight on your side of the bed. I stare at the pillow where you laid your head. I'm wrapped up in blankets, hoping I'll get some sleep. Left me feeling bitter cold in the summer heat. Now I serve dinner for one at a table for two, but I leave space in the closet for your clothes and shoes, just in case you decide to come back to me. Well, until then, I'll be living with your memory. I wake up to silence in a big empty house. Every footstep I take echoes all around. I open the curtains to let some light in, while all it does is illuminate your vacancy. Now I serve dinner for one at a table for two, but I leave space in the closet for your clothes and shoes, just in case you decide to come back to me. Well, until then, I'll be living with your memory. Now I serve dinner for one at a table for two, but I leave space in the closet for your clothes and shoes, just in case you decide to come back to me. Well, until then, I'll be living with your memory. Well, until then, I'll be living with your memory.
That's Natalia Valencia. You remember her from a little while ago. She was in the studio. She writes back at the start of the new year. Happy New Year, Bob. Hope it's off to a good start for you. Wanted to share that I finally released Living With Your Memory. I remember this as being one of your favorites from our interviews. I wanted to send it over for program consideration. Yes, Natalia, it was definitely one of my favorites, and so is the version you've just released. So I asked her, I've put this into our folk and country rotation, so, folk and country gets twice the airtime. Is there an album coming out soon? And Natalia writes back, yes, there will be an EP out this spring. She's just working on confirming the release date, but it's a secret. She'll let us know once it's confirmed. Looking forward to that, Natalia. Let me know when it's available, and we'll stick it in the rotation as well. All right, here's the last camera noise track of the day. This is the track called What If We Just Stop Using Their Money from the album of the same name. Tim Cameron from Camera Noise on CKMS FM 102.7 Radio Waterloo. That's the Slugs of Mars. Nobody can say you don't get a variety of music here on CKMS FM. Slugs of Mars, metal band from Cambridge, Ontario. I must admit that I'm a bit of a closet metal fan. That's Leonidas Karaparnos, Paul Stevens, Imnats Ahmed, and Mac Yppersil. Have to have them in the studio at some point, possibly not for an in-studio performance, not unless they can perform their metal acoustically. The studio is just not well set up for production work like that. They wrote to us as well, not much in their email to us, just, here's the album. Turns out that one of the members of Slugs of Mars is the son of Richard Stevens, who does our Reader's Delight show, alternate Sundays, I think at 2 o'clock. Don't know that for sure. Have a look at the schedule, radiowaterloo.ca/schedule. That'll tell you all you need to know about the stuff that we play on the radio, including a new metal time slot, overnights on Wednesdays, I believe. Wednesday mornings at 2 or 3 a.m. Okay, one more track of Slugs of Mars. This is Becoming Rage.
Your silhouette bathed in sodium light. It sends a chill down my spine. I wish you were here with me again. It feels so good to see you. It seems confirmed you're doing fine. I was wondering, maybe, could you want me one more time? I wish you were here. heard another angel cry, because we never said goodbye. No, we never got to say goodbye. With dawn piercing my restless sleeps, there's a pain that skewers the silence. If I ever fly where my angels do, but could we fly together past the end of time? I wish you were here, so hard to see your face in my mind. I wish you were here. I heard our little brother's angel cry, because we never said goodbye. We never said goodbye. No, we never got to say goodbye. We never got to say goodbye. Oh, it seems we never get to say goodbye, and it hurts. We didn't say goodbye.
That's Seeds of Eden, and they were playing their song called Wish You Were Here. Seeds of Eden is another local band. They wrote to us and said that Seeds of Eden is not a religious reference. The name is inspired by the idea of creating music of different genres and style. The core of the band consists of Glenn Affold, Larry Affold, and Shan Bricker. Several musicians have been added to the recordings. The first song that we were sent was Never Let Me Down, but this is called, the former song we just heard is called Wish You Were Here. It's a tribute to a lost brother in a drunk driving accident. It occurred in 1998, and the song remembers the relationships that he had with the family. Gonna listen to another track. This is Never Let Me Down. And that was Sounds of Eden. We've got Kae Elgie in the studio. She's here a little bit late, but that's all right. We'll catch up another day as well. Kae, welcome to CKMS Community Connections.
Oh, hi.
You're here for Cooperate for Canada.
Yes.
You've got 15 minutes. Tell us all about it in 15 minutes.
Okay. So Cooperate for Canada right now in the Ontario election is a movement to get progressive candidates, basically to defeat Doug Ford. A lot of people that want to see more progressive government in Ontario. And this is a movement to get the opposition parties to cooperate, the progressive parties to cooperate, or if that fails, strategic voting.
So how does this work? Is this where everybody just picks their favorite candidate that's not Doug Ford's party?
No. Our website's cooperateforcanada.ca, so that's COOPERATEFORCANAD.ca, cooperateforcanada.ca, and you will see that we have picked ridings where it will make a difference. Like in some ridings, it really won't matter who you vote for. The Conservative majority is so strong. But here in the Grand River chapter, where Grand River watershed, it will make a difference. Like we could see a difference between having mostly blue seats, except for currently Waterloo being NDP and Kitchener Centre being green. We could see it all green or red or orange if we voted together. Because the reason is the Conservatives do not get more than 50% of the vote. They generally get maybe 40%, maybe 46%, maybe 35%. So if the oppositions just voted together, if we voted for one candidate, then the opposition would win.
Yeah.
You're familiar with this, I know, from Fair Vote Canada.
Yeah.
You know all about it.
Yeah. It's the first past the post system.
The first past the post system,
puts
yes.
a single-
I'm sure you're familiar with this chart. And it just shows that, if we had one opposition, we would defeat the Conservatives, the Ford government. And there's so many reasons to not vote for Doug Ford another time.
So are you suggesting that people just vote for another candidate as recommended by you that's on the ballot? Or are you suggesting to the candidates that they withdraw from the election if they're not the other most eligible candidate to be elected?
Both. Our first ask was to the party leaders, and we've also talked to each individual candidate in the riding, or most of them anyway, to see if they would consider withdrawing. And most of them won't. So our second question was, well, if you do win, would you consider forming a united opposition in Queen's Park? And again, some of them say yes, some of them say it will depend what the party says. So our third choice, which is the only viable one, unfortunately, right now, is to vote for the candidate most likely to defeat the Conservative.
Okay.
And that we are basing that on 338canada.ca, which is a polling aggregator site developed by Philippe Fournier. Has had a lot of success in predicting election results accurately. But we're also coupling that with interviews with candidates on the ground. So we've had volunteers visiting the candidates and asking them about their campaign, how many volunteers, their standing in the community, their experience. And so that, coupled with this polling thing, has led us to declare what we're calling unity candidates. And those are the people we are recommending that people vote for.
Okay, and those unity candidates, is that where the other candidates have withdrawn from their riding?
They haven't withdrawn. There's one example of it so far in Eglinton Lawrence. The NDP candidate at the last minute decided to deregister rather than split the progressive vote in that riding. So we're hoping that might happen. It could still happen. Her timing was good because her name won't be on the ballot. Right. And at this point it will be trickier.
I think as of today,
but we certainly will be reaching out to Green Party candidates because in some cases the Liberals and the NDP are each at about like 20. They're neck and neck anyway. So 5% or 9% either way would make the difference.
Right.
And would defeat the Conservative.
Yeah. How have the voters been taking to this?
How have the voters been taking to it? The people that we've reached out to, and we've reached out to them through a series of ways, sometimes just personal networks. We've also been at some public meetings, and we're planning to go to a lot more of those. And most people are enthusiastic about it if they're friends of ours, and so friends of friends tend to support the same progressive causes. They're concerned about lack of public health care and the cuts to education, all that kind of stuff.
You have a
So-
fairly
so-
lengthy list of things that the Conservative government
yeah.
has not done the way that you want it to
Yeah,
be done.
exactly. Greenbelt, you know,
Yeah.
you name it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those people have been pretty enthusiastic. And of course, some people are skeptical about it. And it's amazing to me the number of people that when they hear the idea say, I want to know more and I want to get on your list. You know?
Is there any effort to push for proportional representation as you're doing this campaign?
Well, of course, that's always the goal that we would have.
Yeah.
This campaign, unfortunately, is not geared at that because we're in the middle of election. We don't have proportional representation, so we're doing the only thing we can do because we don't have proportional representation. But
Are you choosing the candidates in the ridings, the unity candidates, based on their stance on proportional representation?
To be honest, that hasn't been the issue right now,
Okay.
but I think it's a good question to ask them for future, you know.
Yeah, so you may end up preferring a candidate that isn't going to be in favor of proportional representation, so you'll have to do this again at the next election. when you
You're
have the-
so right.
Yeah.
You're so right. So that's definitely something to do. But, you know, but in the end, this is strategic voting, and that's what makes it challenging for a lot of people. Like, it's so much easier to vote with your heart, and you hope that the one that's most likely to win is also the one you believe in because maybe they are more favorable to proportional representation or other issues that you feel strongly about.
Scott Bietkowski has said to me and said publicly as well that it isn't really very strategic to vote for somebody that isn't aligned with your interest. It's more of a tactical voting. It's negative voting. It's insincere voting.
Yes,
And it bothers me that a candidate might withdraw because that reduces the choice for the electorate. You know, the electorate doesn't have the choice of voting for the platforms, the positions that they want because there's only the two parties now. We're working toward,
Right.
it sounds like you're working towards a two-party system that they have in the States. And look how well that turned out.
well, I mean, that's where proportional representation would be a much, much better solution. And ultimately, that does need to be our goal because I agree with you. We need to have a wide range of viewpoints represented. But I think at this point, I'm saying, you know, better somebody I don't think is 100% perfect rather than Doug Ford again, where I know there's so many problems. And they're getting less and less repairable the longer he's in power.
Have you seen any change in the polling results since the campaign has begun? How long has the campaign been going on? Your campaign, the Cooperate for
Well,
Canada campaign.
Cooperate for Canada, we've been working on this for about a year. We actually started thinking about the federal election and very worried about Pierre Poilievre and what would happen if he became our prime minister. So that got us motivated. And then now we have a sudden election, you know, so in Ontario. So our election work started, you know, about, I don't know, whenever the writ was dropped. You
I
know?
remember there being campaigns like this in the past. I mean, as far back as 2007, when I first got involved in politics, there were the vote-sharing schemes where I will vote for a candidate that you prefer in another jurisdiction if you vote for the candidate that I prefer in my jurisdiction
Yeah.
from the party.
Yep.
The vote swapping.
Yep.
There were other tactical voting schemes that were there. There were actually 2 or 3 at the same time for one of the elections, as I recall.
Yes.
And from looking at the results, it made not a whit of difference.
Well, that could well be the case here, you know. I mean, and it is really sad that those are the lengths we have to go to. I mean, we should have proportional representation. I totally 1,000% agree with you. But since we don't, what are the next best things, you know? And it's a compromise.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. I know it's really hard to do it. I've done it before. I did it when the Stephen Harper election was on, you know, because I just couldn't bear the thought of more attacks on science and
One of
all
those
kinds
hold
of
your
things.
nose and vote.
Yeah, I did. You know, I did. And it's not easy.
Now, considering that there was only like a 40% voter turnout, meaning 60% of the electorate didn't vote. That 60% is a larger proportion of the voting population than any one party received in an election. In fact, it's far more than all the parties received together. Wouldn't it make more sense to focus your energies on getting out the vote, getting more people to vote? Because generally, I think that there are more progressive voters out there than there are non-progressive voters. So if you got some of those people engaged and turned out to vote and increased the...
Yes, and in fact, we're kind of doing a little compromise on that. So one of our volunteers is organizing, started a short campaign to recruit volunteers to help the progressives strategically placed candidate in some ridings, like, because not, as I said before, not every riding has a chance of defeating the Conservative,
Right.
But to pull these people in, so people can, if you really want to support the Greens, look and see what riding, whereas the Greens are ahead, and volunteer for them. We'll match you up with them.
But that doesn't necessarily get them out to vote in their own
No,
riding.
it doesn't get them out to vote necessarily, but the other thing we're doing is saying, talk to your own network. Because there's probably people in your network that don't, right now, are too discouraged to vote. Maybe they voted in the past, or maybe they never did, and talk to other audiences, people that historically don't vote. I mean, that has to be a year-long campaign and a longer campaign.
Yeah. Cooperate for Canada is a nationwide
Yes.
effort.
Yes, it is. We have supporters in Alberta, BC, every province.
Yeah. Right now, Ontario is the main focus because we're in the
Yes.
middle of that election campaign.
Right.
How can people get involved? How can people help you out?
How can people get involved? They go to the website cooperateforcanada.ca, go to the Ontario page, and then you have a choice. You can sign. There's a letter where we urge the candidates to work together, the unity letter, or you can sign our pledge that says you will vote for the candidate most likely to defeat the Conservative in this election.
Right.
But go to the website, go to the Ontario page and look for a form. And once we get your email, then we will be in touch with you about other steps.
And this is a local chapter that we're talking about here? This
Yes.
is something new that you've just set up like in the last little while?
Yeah. There's, I think it's 5 ridings altogether: Kitchener-Conestoga, Waterloo, Kitchener Centre, Kitchener South Hespeler, Cambridge, and Brant.
Brant as well, because
Brantford,
that's
Brant.
6 of them.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
So that's 6, okay.
Yeah.
I can't get
That's all right.
Yeah.
And are there other chapters
Yes.
nearby that...
Yes, there's some in Belleville, Picton, Prince Edward County, Ottawa. There's a kind of sister organization, Not One Seat, in Toronto. And they're all quite small, I'll be honest. We aren't sweeping the province yet, but we're starting, and we're seeing what things we need to do better for the federal election,
Yeah. Well, best of luck with that.
Yes.
I hope to get some show notes up about this, maybe even this weekend.
Yes.
You can refer people to that as well.
Yeah.
Get all the contact information in those show notes. You'll see them at radiowaterloo.ca/ccc. Kae Elgie, thank you for coming in and talking very, very quickly indeed. That's been Kae Elgie from Cooperate for Canada. We'll have her back on the show some other day so we can do this in a more relaxed fashion.
Okay.
You've been listening to CKMS Community Connections on CKMS FM 102.7 Radio Waterloo. My name is Bob Jonkman. CKMS Community Connections is produced by Radio Waterloo, sponsored by Radio Waterloo. Executive producer is Jennifer Strong. Associate producer is Jeff Stager and sometimes Ritika Sharmali. We air every Monday at 11 o'clock and alternate Fridays at 3 p.m. See you next time.